Good luck, editing Kara, good luck. Dearly beloved makeup friends, we are gathered here today to say goodbye to the channel known as Kara C. Let's get into this. Before we jump into the video, I want to welcome you back to the channel. If you're new here, then hello. A lot of these changes that I'm going to talk about are just going to be what to expect from the channel, but for those of you who have been following me for a while, I just wanted to give you the courtesy of telling you sort of what's been going on in the last couple of months, what's led me to wanting to change things up a little bit, and what my plans are for the future for this channel. Rest assured, I am not shutting the channel down. In fact, all I have done is changed the artwork on it and changed the name to my actual name. So yes, hello, my name is Kara Chapman, and this is our channel. Our channel. I couldn't do this without you. So this is our channel, which just happens to bear my name. So here we are. For years, I've gone under the name Kara C. However, Barry, my husband, uses his last name in his social media. I post memories from Facebook to my Instagram stories, and that shows my full name. So it's really not that difficult. If you know what my profession is and roughly where I live in the world, you can do a quick Google search and find me that way. So it's not like I was ever trying to keep it a secret, but for whatever reason right now, it just feels like the time to actually embrace some changes, and that is an easy one to make. The other one is my hair. Can we just talk about this really briefly? Because look at it. First of all, if you see like little dark spots along, yeah, it's because I just had my hair dyed this morning leading into this afternoon. It's a very long process, but I'm so happy with it. Oh my goodness. I told him I couldn't decide between like red, purple, or pink, so we've got all of those in there. He did a far better job than I could have ever even imagined. I'm so happy with it. I wanted vibrant, but not so far out of the top, like over the top that I feel unprofessional, and my stylist nailed it. Anyways, if you've been following me for a while, then you will have noticed in the last few months that there's been a significant decline in the number of videos that I've been posting. Haven't really been fully engaged. I haven't really been posting a lot on Instagram either. I've just kind of been taking a bit of a break. However, I haven't been officially allowing myself to take a break. So I've been trying and pushing myself, and ultimately it's just resulted in a lot of video that is not worth posting. So as I would sit down to edit it, I would just scrap it entirely, which then just turned into a bit of a vicious cycle. And it got to the point where I would come here and I would have an idea for the video that I wanted to film, and I would sit down, and then I would just sit and I would stare, and I wouldn't be able to decide what foundation to use or what lipstick to use or eyeshadow, and my heart just wasn't in it. I would sit here for literally an hour just trying to get myself in the right headspace to film, and ultimately a couple of weeks ago I just decided that that was not working, and so I just had to give myself permission and grace to just take a break and stop trying to force myself. There's been a lot of issues going on throughout 2022, not the least of which has been crippling seasonal depression. I'm finally out of that at this point, thank the Lord, but it was the worst it's ever been. I have talked about that in other videos, so I'm not going to rehash it too much here, but there were some very dark weeks throughout January, February, and well into March as well, and it just sucked everything out of me. And then with everything going on in the world as well, it just started to feel like anything that I could contribute by way of a video was just trivial and meaningless in the grander scheme of things, or at least that's how I felt. And so there was really no motivation for me to sit down and film, and I just kind of got to the point where I just kept asking myself, like, what's the point in any of this? And I think a lot of that was to do with just the seasonal depression, because I was asking that about basically everything. I mean, literally getting out of bed in the morning, I was like, what is the point? Like, what am I doing that's helping anybody at this point? So I had to put the channel on the back burner. But in that process, it really did allow me some time to sit and think about what do I enjoy with my channel? What do I enjoy watching on other people's channels? What kind of content would make my heart feel happy to produce and to share? And I came to the realization that while for the last few years I have really tried to grow an audience based on as many reviews as possible, I'm not loving doing reviews at this point, at least not in the sense of doing as many dedicated reviews to individual products as possible. It became very stressful. It is very difficult as a Canadian because the delay in receiving items, the cost of purchasing items, and the shipping and the customs and all of that factors into it. And so I was finding I was spending a lot of money. I wasn't getting the views that I would hope to get simply because I was often far later in putting up those reviews than other people. I also found it very stressful finding the time to do it. So with things like the birthstone palettes that were launched from BH Cosmetics during 2021, by some quirk in Canada, I was able to receive them faster than a lot of my American friends were. So as soon as it would arrive, I would say to Barry, like, you're on dad duty. You're making dinner. You're taking care of the kids. I need to film. I need to edit. I need to get this up tonight so that I can get the jump on everybody. And really what that ended up doing was basically turning my household upside down, causing a lot of anxiety for myself just in terms of like, get it done. And then the quality of the videos themselves weren't quite to the standard that I would hope for myself. So really, what's the point in all of that? So that's not to say going forward that I'm never going to do reviews. I absolutely am. But I'm not going to force myself to review anything and everything that gets released. I really just need to buy the makeup that I want to try. And that may sound selfish, but I'll come back to that in just a moment. What I have been trying to do in past years is anticipate what the audience is going to want to see and what the audience is going to be interested in. And sometimes I nail that and sometimes I very much don't. And with my channel being the size that it is, even if the video is a fantastic performer based on the averages that I normally pull, I'm still not making back in AdSense what I'm putting out for basically any of the products that I review. So it becomes a very expensive guessing game at the end of it all. Not only that, but then I also have these products in this very small room that I then have to store. And ultimately it leads to a very large declutter. At least once a year, usually twice throughout the year, I'll go through and I'm just so overwhelmed that it becomes impossible really for me to function in this room without decluttering. And then I'm decluttering makeup that's barely being used, but that I haven't necessarily loved or is so similar to so many other items that I have that I don't see the need to keep it. And then that's ultimately just creating waste. And while I do try to rehome as much makeup as I can that I'm getting rid of, I only have so many friends and so many outlets for these products. And so ultimately some of it does end up in the garbage. And so I can nip a lot of that in the bud by just relaxing. And it's amazing what a concept that is, but I really just need to stop comparing myself to other people, stop looking at other people's channel growth and numbers and trying so hard to match that and seeing what other people are reviewing and feeling pressure and FOMO to not skip out on that. And so then I'm buying stuff that I initially wasn't interested in, and then it arrives. And then ultimately what happens is it just ends up sitting on my desk and I never get around to filming with it, and then it goes on the shelf and I've never used it, but I've spent however much money on it. So I have taken a step back and I did put up a community question on my community tab. And I really appreciate all the interaction that you guys do over there because it actually really does help me out. So I did post a question asking like what kind of content you like to watch that isn't review specific. And you gave me some really great ideas in there. And for my own part, when I'm watching other people's makeup content, I don't tend to watch a lot of reviews of specific items. Unless it's a really pricey item and I'm considering purchasing it, then I might watch some reviews. But for the most part, there are so many makeup releases that I could devote literally days each week to just watching reviews on all of these different palettes and collections and skin products and all of that. And I don't enjoy that content personally. I appreciate the work that goes into it, and I certainly appreciate people's hustle in terms of posting those kind of videos on such a consistent and regular basis, but it's just not for me, and that's okay. So, sorry, I just got distracted. Barry brought me some water, which was very kind of him. Basically, just to get to the point of what it is I'm trying to say, is that I still want to present sort of a mixed bag of items, but only to do with beauty. So as you may know, I did start a second channel earlier this year devoted to my health journey, weight loss, all that kind of stuff. I do have videos of that still living on this channel. Frankly, they are the best performing videos of this channel, so I don't want to take them down, but I'm not going to be posting any more health content on this channel. I'm going to be continuing to do my Project Pan. I may move into Shop My Stash. I like doing rapid reviews where I share with you 5 to maybe 15 items at most and give you very brief bite-sized reviews of them. I want to do some rankings. I want to do swatches of collections, all of that kind of thing. I am still going to purchase new makeup. I'm not planning on going on a no-buy at this point, although certainly I'm here on a very low buy, which hasn't been by design. It's simply been there haven't been that many items being released in the last few months that I've cared about. So that's what you can expect coming forward from me. And as soon as I released the pressure valve and just got out of my own head and got out of my own way, my motivation for filming just skyrocketed. And I actually have videos planned all throughout June, and I have videos planned taking me into July. And I have also come up with a dedicated upload schedule. So every Monday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is when I'm going to be posting videos. There may be a few bonus videos now and then, so I'd still recommend turning on the bell notifications in case you are concerned about missing anything. But I am dedicating myself to 2 videos a week and 1 video a week on my other channel. That's about as much as I can handle at this point. And I feel good about that. I would rather produce 2 videos a week that actually feel fulfilling to me, make me happy, possibly have higher content quality for you guys. I would rather do that than force myself to do 4 or 5 videos a week that I just don't feel fulfilled by. So that is the plan going forward. Now, before I wrap the video up, I did mention earlier that there were a lot of factors going on in my life and a lot of things causing me anxiety and stress. I have talked about some of them, but there is a very significant one that I have not mentioned until just now, and it relates to my work life. So in case you're not familiar, I am a lawyer by trade. I own a law firm with a partner, and that partner has informed me that she is going to be leaving the firm and leaving the practice of law at the end of the year. So when I received that news, it put me in a tailspin. It came when I was just emerging from the depths of seasonal depression, and then I just felt like I'd been crushed right back down. I didn't know what I was going to do. There was a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fear, and frankly, a lot of anger as well from my part. I've moved past that anger. I've moved past the fear. I do have a new business partner lined up. He's actually somebody who is an associate at my firm at this point, and I think we are going to be a very good match for running a business together. So I'm starting to see the upside of it. I'm starting to get sort of that excitement of almost starting a new job, even though it's still going to be the exact same job. It's just going to be somebody else at the helm with me. But it did create a lot of turmoil in my life for quite some time, and that transition between this partnership and my new one is going to be a long and stressful process. There's a lot of complications in there. There's a lot of financial side to it as well. I'm not going to get into any details. My partner and I, like my existing partner and I, did not have any sort of falling out. In fact, we were doing really well and our business was continuing to grow. This is a personal choice on her side. I wish her absolutely nothing but the best in the future. Like I said, the anger that I did feel has long since dissipated. I just can't fuel anger. I just don't have the energy for it. And she hasn't done anything wrong at all. She gave me plenty of notice. and we're going to work through everything. It's just the timing just really yanked that rug out for me that I had just taken some steps onto. But that all kind of factored into me just retreating from YouTube because I just couldn't handle it. Also, I feel like I'm just having a bit of an existential crisis to begin with. Perhaps it's what we call a midlife crisis jokingly, until you are staring down the barrel of 42 and start thinking like, shit, I actually am midlifed. So that has been another thing. To recapture my youth somehow, I had started running again. I had signed up for a 5K race to be held in July. I was getting very excited about it. And then I injured my hip. And at first it was one of those like, well, it's running and running hurts, so maybe it's just an ache that I've never experienced before. And so I went out for another run, well, onto the treadmill because my hip was a little achy and I didn't want to be like kilometers away from home and then have to hobble back like I did the first time. So I'm going along on the treadmill, feel a bit of an ache, and then I feel a really sharp, like ripping feeling inside of my hip. That was almost a week ago and I'm still limping now. So I am starting physiotherapy in a few days. I've never done physio before, but I'm really hoping that they can give me some strengthening exercises and some guidance on how to heal this and how to avoid it in future. I'm really hoping that it's nothing too serious, but time will tell. Ultimately, that has derailed, obviously, my running, and there's really not much other exercise I can do at this point, or at least none that I'm willing to try without first seeing a physiotherapist who can tell me better what the limitations might be. So I've just kind of felt very frustrated and almost claustrophobic because of the circumstances around me. I don't like not being in control of things, and things like injuries and decisions that other people are making can be like quite the pressure cooker on me. I really don't like that, but it's part of life. So I'm doing the best that I can to roll with it. I am very, very disappointed and very frustrated with my hip, but we got a plan in place. We're starting physio. There was one other thing I wanted to mention regarding work, and it's in the spirit of change. It's in the spirit of sort of just relieving myself from as much unnecessary pressure as I can. And that is that I'm taking a step back from litigation. So while I do have some court files ongoing and I'm going to continue with them, I am not actively taking on new court matters now. I'm focusing primarily on separation agreements and marriage contracts and as many step-parent adoptions as I can get. They're fairly rare, but I enjoy doing them. But I'm just trying to protect my own sensibilities. And if that means I need to take a step back from litigation, I'm okay with that. And with that, those are the changes that I have been implementing on my end. I finally feel excited to sit down and film again. Like I said, I have a ton of videos scheduled out for the next few weeks. And I keep coming up with more ideas, and that spark has been renewed, and I'm so grateful for that because I have missed sitting down and filming. I've missed putting out content for you guys and interacting with you in the comments, and I just wanted it to be fun again, and it really wasn't for several months. It really just felt like work, and it felt like unfulfilling work, if I'm being honest. That has absolutely nothing to do with you. You guys have always been so supportive and so kind, and I've really missed, like I said, the interaction with you. It's all been coming from this internal space of just feeling overwhelmed by absolutely everything and feeling like anything I'm doing is just really trivial and meaningless. And I'm glad to say that my heart and my head are getting past that. I can't promise that I won't slip back into that at some point. That is the nature of mental health concerns. But for now, I'm willing to just ride the high tide, and I'm looking forward to giving you guys regular, scheduled content that just feels fun to create. So with all of that, I'm going to wrap the video up here. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you for watching. I will see you in my next video, and until then, just be a decent human being. There are some things I just can't change, and that is one of them. Be a decent human being. Bye for now.